Hey Fae folk, welcome back. So we have a brand new Monster High collector doll that is about to come out, the House of Wolf, Clawdeen Wolf, and obviously that means that I have to give you my opinions on it. Key thing there is it is just my opinions. You're obviously free to disagree with me, just don't be mean about it if you want to express that down in the comments. Now, we're going to go over like very quickly just the basic, boring information before we get into looking at the doll and my thoughts and feelings. Keep this stuff in mind as we look through everything. So, as far as the release date, she is going to go up on Mattel Creations at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on September 22nd. For the first 24 hours, she's only going to be available for the fan club members, and then presumably if there's stock left over on Mattel Creations, then she'll become available for anybody else. Quick editing correction here, or at least I think it's an editing correction. Rereading it, it actually seems like it might be a fan club exclusive when it comes to Mattel Creations, so it'll be available for that 24 hours and then not sold any further on the website. So if you aren't a fan club member, it sounds like you're going to have to go to other retailers to be able to get her. Sorry about that. And then she is also going to be available at quote other retailers. So I'm not exactly sure what all other retailers those are. I'm sure it's going to be Amazon, potentially Target and Walmart. And that is also just within the US. Right now, I don't know any particular stores outside of the US, but that's just sort of the information that I have. She is going to be $98, which sounds like a lot. I do understand fully, believe me. But the other thing that I want you to keep in mind while we go through looking through everything and also with the price in mind is that this was meant to be sort of like the Clawdeen Wolf that's on the same level as Vampire Heart Draculaura. So I'll pop up a couple pictures on screen, one of her in box and the one of her out of box, just so we can get like a quick little refresher on the Draculaura, the Vampire Heart Draculaura, because I feel like she was such an iconic drop from Monster High, but like it's good to have those images freshly in our head. And then I'm going to look up what her price was real quick, actually. Okay, I just double checked just because I wanted to be like 100% certain about the things that I was saying. So, Vampire Heart Draculaura came out about this time of year 2 years ago, so 2023, and she was $90. So, it is $8 more expensive for this Clawdeen, but they are quite comparable. So, I just want to like have us keep that in mind. But now we can actually get to the fun part and look at the doll. So here is Miss Clawdeen. We do have close-up images of quite a few different elements of her design, so we will be looking at that, but this is like the overview. This is the whole thing all put together, and I have so many thoughts all at once. As an entire look, I do think that it feels fairly cohesive, like fairly well put together there. I think that the like cape situation she's got going on is pretty sick, but I am just biased. Like you put a cloak or a cape on anything and it's immediately like 10 times cooler in my head. But genuinely, I do think that this is a fun one. I think the fur lining is really nice around sort of like the shoulder area. And then the inner pattern being an animal print and then the outer pattern being something different, I think is a nice little contrast there. Plus the colors mix really, really well. I will say the number one thing that immediately stands out to me is that there's only one piece of purple on her, and that is this sort of like blazer esque dress that she's got going on. I do think that the dress works for Clawdeen. Like, I do think that she looks good in this cut and in this style and everything. I just feel like the color is sort of, I don't know, like when I think about Clawdeen, I think about all the crazy colors that she used to get with her G1 dolls, because obviously this is a G1 style doll. So we're not talking about the fashion sense of G3 Clawdeen, but like G1 Clawdeen had so many like colorful variations, you know? Like she always consistently got different accent colors and she changed her hair all the time. So there was obviously the purple. I feel like that's like the core Clawdeen color, but she would also wear pink, and neon green was another really, really big one. Obviously there's like the gold. I feel like there were sometimes she had pink. So it's just, I get that this is supposed to be like the elevated version of Clawdeen, and I really truly do love the silhouette, and even the inclusion of a lot of the brown I think is good. I just sort of wish there was a little bit more going on here as far as color, just because out of all the characters of Monster High, I feel like Clawdeen is the one who would be capable of doing crazy colors and still making it feel like classy. You know what I'm saying? And also, I just like I'm trying to think. I don't have very many Clawdeen dolls, but I'm trying to think if there were any times that Clawdeen like only wore one color basically. I feel like she was just such a colorful gal, and so this is like sort of an interesting thing to see, especially like not even a hint of color in her hair or anything. I don't know. That's just that immediately sort of bothers me. So I like the general vibes that we're getting right off the bat as far as the outfit, but that's something that I'm kind of missing. And then the hair. I'm not I'm not the biggest fan. I don't know. It just feels really heavy. And I do think because she has like this whole cloak situation, it sort of gets lost in the silhouette. Like if you take the cloak off and she's just wearing the blazer dress, suddenly I feel like it would look a lot better because then it's like this dramatic high pony. But because she already has so much volume and everything with the cape situation, and because it's all brown, like there's not even a color contrast, I feel like it sort of just gets lost and it doesn't it's just not really doing anything for me. Like I see it and it's like a nice hairstyle, but I don't necessarily think that it works the best on this doll. And I also just don't know if it's like really doing her any favors. Like something about the way that the hairline and everything is rooted, it kind of feels like her head is very, very large. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater. I really wanted to like this though, because like when we got the news that we were going to be getting a vampire heart level Clawdeen, I was ready because I loved Vampire Heart Draculaura so much. Like I said, that was like such a momentous drop and such an amazing drop from Monster High. And so the idea of getting that level of quality with another character, crazy to me. I was so excited. And I just feel like, I don't know, this didn't quite work out, but that also could just be me personally. Like, I'm sure a lot of people love it, and that is dandy. To get into some of the close ups, actually, first, sorry, let's take a look at what she comes with. So she has just like a basic saddle stand. And then she does also have a fabric purse, which is excellent to see. Like for $100, this doll needed to have a fabric purse rather than a plastic purse. So I do think that that is quite nice. But even the purse is also just brown. So I just wish there was a little bit more color. Like I feel like with a bag especially, that's such an easy way to add a pop of color. And I do feel like when it comes to like societally accepted beauty standards, like the normal type of fashion to wear, right? Because obviously you can wear whatever the fuck you want. Like as long as you know you're covered legally to like whatever legal standards you need to be wherever you are, you're good. But when it comes to like what society deems as fashionable, I feel like having a like super colorful like bag that accents an outfit is a very normal thing to do. You know, like people might look at you. And again, who cares? You live your life, do what you want and do what makes you feel good about yourself. But if you're wearing like head to toe neon green, you're going to catch some stares, right? In most places. Whereas if you have like this brown outfit and then like a really poppy bag, I feel like that is just like, oh, look at them. They're so fashion. You know, okay, listen, I'm just saying she should have had more color. That's all I really wanted. But we can see a better look at the print on the outside of the, I almost said coat, but it's a cloak. It's a cloak. I have to, I have to hold on to that. I mean, actually, I think there are sleeves to it. So I guess it's more of a coat. Anyway, I do think that the outside pattern is fairly well executed. I will give them that because it could read very kitschy very quick. There's moons and like a little coffin and stars and stuff. And I feel like that could look really cheesy. We've definitely seen Monster High do some similar prints that can look very, very cheesy. But the way this one's done does feel quite nice. Like I feel like this is pretty believable as a like luxury print, right? So I'm not mad about that. I'm just upset with the color. Now we can actually get into some details here. So here is a closer up look at her bag. You can see the fabric. It's quite similar, if not exactly the same to the lining of her cloak. We've got like the gold and black sort of clasp there and like a little charm and everything. Like it's cute. There's nothing wrong with the bag. It's just like as it fits in, I'm like, I wish this would have been a different color, you know? Okay, yeah, so this image clears things up a little bit. I had just saved this one to show you a close-up of the belt and the nails, but yeah, it looks like the sleeve is not attached to the dress. That's like attached to the coat. It's not a cloak, it's a coat. Anyway, that's a little disappointing, but she has a belt with her initials and a little star on it, which I do think is quite cute. And I think the big thing is that she's got these long, long, long nails, which I do think is really, really fun. I feel like Clawdeen would absolutely rock just the best nail set. It's like she just gives me that vibe, you know, of like the girl who always has her nails done and they're never broken. Like even if like something happens, it's just like miraculously fixed the second that like trouble has gone, right? And they just always look immaculate and the taste is always so good. Claudine gives me that vibe. So I do think it's really, really nice that she got to have a little manicure here. Taking a look at the shoes. I do think they're like shoe pants based on the other pictures that we've seen. Cause like the black part goes straight up underneath the dress. So they're either like beyond thigh highs or they're shoe pants, which is kind of funny. But I do think like it looks good stylistically. I will give them that. Plus, it's nice to see more fabric. I almost said fabric pants. That's crazy. More fabric shoes from Monster High. I think the inclusion of the chain around the ankle and the wolf at the toe is really cute. And then the heel being that like CW logo. I think that's so, so nice because it is still like sort of an object heel, sort of, you know, how Monster High does. But the fact that it's not something completely different, the fact that it is the same logo that we see on the belt feels really cool and does like sort of link them together. And it makes it feel like she's just wearing her own items that like she designed. So I do think that that is a really, really nice touch. Even if they are pants, like I get it's like a little weird. But also, if we go back to the first image I showed you, like that looks sleek. It looks crisp. I can't really be mad about the shoe pants if that is indeed what they are. And like this image makes me think they have to be, right? Like they've got to be shoe pants. And then a last little close up that we have here is her face, so we can get like a better look at the hair blend and everything, and obviously the screening. I think the earrings are quite cute. The little like heart on the one side is really, really nice. And I like seeing them be more of a proper metallic instead of, you know, what we tend to get with Playline dolls, because obviously this is $100. So I definitely want the metallics to be metallicing here. I think her lips are so gorgeous. Like the dark brown at the corners to like the lighter brown in the middle is such a beautiful ombre. And I really, really love the idea of her eyes. This is completely a nitpick and like me just being a little bit of an asshole. But the eye that's like closest to us, so the one that appears bigger in the image, okay, I feel like I sound crazy. But if you really, really look at this, she's got the wing, right? And then the individual lashes between from like left to right, the first and second lashes, and then second and third lashes. Am I crazy or are there two little dots there where like the screening didn't go down and they still use this for the stock photo? Am I just seeing things? Like I'm genuinely worried that maybe I'm just crazy. But I was admiring her eyeshadow, like, as I was prepping for this video. I was like, wow, I love the gold liner. I love that, like, brown blend. Like, I'm not thrilled with all of it being brown, but I gotta admit that's really cute. And then I was like, that's kind of patchy. So there's that. Again, I just, like, even in the makeup, just a hint of purple would have been so nice. I'm not gonna be able to shut up about that, unfortunately. But those are all of the images of the doll proper. So looking at this, it is hard just because obviously I'm not in, you know, the warehouse or even like in like the design room or whatever it is where they're doing this. I have no idea how much this cost to produce in comparison to the Vampire Heart Draculaura. I will say I really, really genuinely do like this silhouette with the clothing for Clawdeen. Like Draculaura, the ball gown, that was excellent. That was good. I feel like Clawdeen doesn't need to be in a ball gown. This definitely feels more true to her as a character, which I like. I don't know if I'm just associating ball gowns with like fun, expensive like dresses and also fun, expensive collector dolls. And so that's why this feels a little bit less to me, or if it actually is a little bit less. But I don't want to say that definitively when it comes to the doll herself, just because, I mean, you're kind of comparing apples and oranges. And so without me having any behind the scenes information, I don't want to say concretely that her outfit is like less extravagant or less designed or anything like that, because I don't know. That being said, I do have one more image to share with you all. And in this regard, I can say that Clawdeen got just violently shafted and did not even come close to getting the same treatment as Vampire Heart Draculaura. So this is what her box looks like, which is genuinely the most nothing box. that I think we've ever seen from Monster High. This is beyond bad. Like, I genuinely don't know what words to use to express how insulting this is, quite frankly. Like, that is the best word to me. I understand that Clawdeen is not real. Okay, I do get that. But this is kind of fucked up, and we're gonna get into it in a little bit, but I I just need to rip into this a smidge more. You can barely see that at the top it is embossed with presumably House of Wolf. I can't actually see all the letters because it's not like printed or anything. It's just a plain box. There's like a little bit of detailing at the bottom, and there's a pattern in the background that matches the lining of her coat. She doesn't pop against this background because Clawdeen is wearing almost nothing but brown, and all of the pieces that are like touching, for lack of a better word, like all of the pieces that are next to the background are brown. Her hair is brown, the coat is brown, the purse is brown. She doesn't stand out. Like, it's not even that it's a different color of brown. Like, you could still do a brown background and have the doll pop, but it's almost the same brown as the lining of her coat, so it doesn't pop at all. So why not do like more of a gold background or do the purple background if you're not going to give the doll any more color pops? Like, give the box a color pop. I just, like, not only is this insulting in its simplicity and like for a collector doll crazy for it to look this cheap, but it's not even like a well designed cheap box. You know what I'm saying? Like the Mycene collector dolls. I think those boxes are stupid and ugly and like pretty close to on par with this one in terms of just being literally nothing. But at least you can see the doll. At least the doll is clear. This is like that, except let's muddy it and make sure that you really can't see the details of the doll. And especially for a collector doll, where some collectors, like a good portion of collectors, like to have a doll in the box, like they never take it out. They want to display it like this. This is messed up to do. Like, that's not going to look good on a shelf. This is so absolutely nothing. And two things that really, really bother me about this. First of all, this concretely tells me that this doll is not as like bang for your buck as Vampire Heart Draculaura was, because if you recall at the beginning of this video when I showed you a picture of her in box, her box was beautifully designed, an incredible background and different little 3D elements. It was pretty to the point where on my display, I'm an out-of-box collector. You can see the things behind me. I keep almost nothing, like even partially in box, and nothing completely in box. I saved bits and pieces of the Vampire Heart Draculaura packaging so that I could display her with it, because that's how gorgeous it was. Even for someone like me who doesn't care about packaging, I had to save that packaging. And then we get this for the follow-up for Clawdeen. I would be complaining about this sort of packaging for literally any collector doll because I think it is ridiculous. I mean, again, to make the comparison to Mycene, those are $40. And I still think that packaging is too simple for that price tag. Like, that's not okay. So, like, I would be complaining regardless. But I do think, especially for this to be Clawdeen coming off the heels of Vampire Heart Draculaura, there's an extra layer of insulting, and I do want to be very, very careful when I say this, because I am not in any way trying to say that I know what was going through anyone's minds as far as anyone at Mattel who might have been involved with this. I'm not trying to speculate on motives or anything like that, but I am talking about the optics of it. So motivations, intentions, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about calling it like I see it. And I think that it is bad enough to have one doll that comes out and like sets the bar so high, that one being Vampire Heart Draculaura, and then the follow-up looking like this, like that is bad enough. But then when it's like, okay, you've made this incredible, amazing doll, now we're making a character that's black and we're not going to give her the same treatment. Again, I am not saying that that's intentional in any capacity, but I am saying that it looks a little bit bad. Like, I would like to believe that no one on the team was like, oh, this is a black character, we don't need to put in as much effort as we did for Draculaura. But I feel like it's sort of impossible for it to look not like that when these are the only 2 points of reference that we have, and the downgrade is so, so noticeable. Like, this doll is basically $10 more expensive in the US than Vampire Heart Draculaura was. So I don't feel like you can say like, oh, well, the packaging had to be unbelievably simple because of inflation or tariffs or whatever, because the price has already gone up. And even if you wanted to make the excuse that it needed to be a little bit cheaper, they still could have done more than this. This is literally doing nothing. This is almost just putting cardboard and plastic and not even like doing anything else. Like, there's a print and that's it. So it just it just looks really, really bad because it doesn't there's not a disparity to the point where it looks like, oh shoot, they had to budget cut because of things that are going on. I could understand that. This is a disparity that looks like we loved this first one and then we fucking had to make this one, so just shove it in a box. And it's just so nasty to me. I don't like that. Again, I really want to highlight, I'm not saying that that was on purpose, but especially in like today's climate, it makes it feel a little bit more intentional, whether it was or not. And again, I would like to think that it wasn't. You have to be more mindful of these things. And yeah, I think that basically Clawdeen got done unbelievably dirty with this. Like, when we were looking just at the doll, all of the criticisms that I had really boil down to just my opinions and my aesthetics, right? You know, like me saying that there needs to be a pop of color on the doll outside of the dress, like me saying she needs to be more colorful, that's a personal preference. That doesn't mean that she like wasn't cared for when it comes to the design, or that like no effort was put into her, or that the materials aren't good, or like the craftsmanship isn't good. None of that was on that level, right? But this is undeniable that she did not get even close to the same treatment as Vampire Heart Draculaura. And that makes me very sad for her. So I think it is pretty clear I'm not going to end up buying this doll. I really just wasn't feeling her, even from the like leaks that we had gotten from Toy Fair. I think that was the one that it was. But I know we had like gotten leaks and I was kind of like, okay, I'm probably not going to like her. And then seeing the stock photos, like, you know, that's a nice doll for somebody else. I just really don't need to own her. But then I saw the box and was like, oh, now I have a lot more feelings. So sorry for that to be a little bit of a bummer. But like, I feel like I have to talk about it, you know? And like, I wanted to share my thoughts on this doll anyway. Like, I was waiting for the stock photos to drop so that I could make a video. I didn't know it was going to go like this. But then I got the pictures, and what else am I supposed to do? I have to I have to share this with you. So those are my thoughts on the House of Wolf Clawdeen. Clawdeen, I'm sorry, you deserved a lot better than that fuck-ass box. Please do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, both on the doll, the box, the kind of optics of how that looks in comparison to Vampire Heart Draculaura. I'm very nosy about all this. If you are planning on trying to get Clawdeen, I wish you luck. I hope you're able to get her from whatever website or anything you're trying to get her from nice and easily. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, guys. I do hope this was entertaining on some level for you. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.